Hi, and welcome to Hair with Clare. I'm your host, Claire Devereaux. I'm a trichologist, a stylist, and founder of Hair Health Essentials. Join me every week with my guests where we talk about big hair, short hair, loud hair, quiet hair, shedding hair, wedding hair, everything in between the nasty and the good, and where you can find out how to have a good hair day every day. We're going to unlock the secrets to healthy locks. Hi, and welcome to Hair with Clare. I'm your host, Claire Devereaux, and I'm very excited about today's podcast. I am joined by the gorgeous Fionnuala Moran, who is a DJ, a broadcaster, a journalist. She's a fashionista who likes to upcycle her pre-loved clothing. And I've seen her actually use a pair of neck curtains to make into a fabulous dress. I did see that on Instagram. And she's also here today to share her experience of Trichotillomania, which is a hair pulling disorder. So Fionnuala, first of all, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I love being introduced as a fashionista, and you've got me on a 4 a.m. day, so I'm in to run out the door, lack of chic. But look, we'll take the compliments where we can get them.
Absolutely. Well, you look fabulous, even if you only got an hour's sleep. So that just shows you, you know what I mean, how good your skin is, and your hair looks amazing, which we're going to talk about. And also, you just got recently engaged. So congratulations. I know it's fabulous. It's pink. I love it.
Very me. I know it's not for everyone. And trust me, I've gotten enough comments on our engagement post from like random troll accounts being like, I hate your ring, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's fine, babe. I'm not going to share it. You don't have to wear it. I love it.
I love it. Hold it up. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It really, it's fabulous. Congratulations. I love it. It's very Barbie-esque.
Absolutely. We actually found it in December. Aaron didn't want to propose with one that he didn't know that I'd love because I'm a very fussy gal.
Of course.
And just as well that we went and found it together because I told him I wanted a Yellowstone and then I couldn't find any Yellowstones I liked and I ended up picking a pink one. So had he gone off and done exactly what I'd wanted, I would have hated it. So very happy.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And it's nice to be a bit different as well, isn't it? It's nice to have a unique ring that's just for you.
Absolutely. Anyone who knows me now, I know I'm in all black today, but again, that was a sprint out the door for the breakfast show. So this morning, I'm usually head to toe, crazy color, very maximalist in my fashion, dopamine dressing galore, love a bit of color. So I don't think a clear diamond would ever have been me. It was always going to be something a bit funky.
Good. Well, that's good. I like a bit of funky. So tell us, first of all, for everyone listening, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your career, what you're doing at the moment, how you got here at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, doing a bit of everything at the moment, but absolutely loving it. I'm in a really glorious era of my career now where I've been working towards since I went into college, since I got out of college. I spent my whole 20s working to get to where I am now, and I'm doing every single thing I want to be doing. So I love sustainability. I just only this time last year finished my master's in climate change. I graduated that in March then. So I'm doing lots of sustainability work. That's kind of my main focus on social media, showcasing like really fun ways and accessible ways people can get involved with it and make really positive changes. And my undergrad was a comms degree in DCU. So I kind of like to bring a support over shame aspect to it as well. Because like I understand that if anyone gets barked at about things, no one's going to want to change. No one's going to want to get involved there. So to get people involved in climate change, I love sharing like progress over perfection and just all of the fun ways we can do it. So that's one element of a very varied career. And some people might have seen the sustainability segments I do in the 6 o'clock show as well. That's part of my media work. And I get to do lovely contributor slots on Claire Byrne, on Jennifer Zamparelli here in RT about all of the fabulous different ways people are doing sustainable stuff in Ireland, which is really, really cool as well. But then beyond that, I do some DJ work. I'm doing my own cover presenting in 2FM. I had my own show in RT Pulse for ages, and I've just had to give that up this summer because everything in 2FM got so busy and everything externally got so busy. And I do lots of event hosting and everything else as well. So yeah, that's a very rapid run through, but yeah, it's been a
really busy girl. You're a busy girl. It's great when it all comes together because it takes time, doesn't it? I mean, I think a lot of people come out of college and they expect it to be instant, particularly when you do media or anything like that. You know, you're working on all these shows a lot of the time for nothing. Like when you're coming out of college, you're really just trying to get the experience, and then when it starts to come together, it's so sweet because you've been putting in the work and your contacts start to build and you're getting that name for yourself, and your Instagram is fantastic. You've a great following on that, and I think to make it fun, that is the thing, really, isn't it? It's not just so doom and gloom and so heavy all the time.
Yeah, and there's a space for those communicators as well, and like all the physical science communicators, but it's just not me. I want to be the generalist speaking to people in accessible terms at all times. That's kind of my personality is naturally light. I'm not a very serious person. So I want to bring people in that way. And if this is the starting point for them and they go off and they find the more serious people, or they go off and find like brilliant activists or anything else like that, I kind of see myself as a little gateway for people to come in, learn a little bit. And then if they want to learn a little bit more, they can go off elsewhere.
Right. Oh, well, you've ticked that box because you're doing a great job. So congrats on all of that. So when I met you because I write a column for Evoke, which is called Ask Clare, which is people write into me with their hair problems. And it could be anything from dandruff to alopecia areata to what I do with my hair for my wedding or extensions. And you're my editor. And I would be talking to you on a Sunday morning and we got talking about different things. And that's how we got to know each other. And I actually had someone write into me about trichotillomania, that they were pulling out their hair. And when I was filing the article, you said to me, well, actually, that's some disorder that I suffer with. And I said, oh my God. And then I saw that you wrote certain things about it as well. So you've been very open with your journey. But I really feel that this can help a lot of people because I feel that when people have come to me with trichotillomania, a lot of the time they don't admit to pulling out their hair. So it's usually females, usually teens. Sometimes their mom brings them in because of a bald patch and they're worried about what it is. Obviously, when I see it straight away, I know what it is, but it's very hard to get someone to say that's what they're doing. A lot of people feel, I think, a lot of shame around it, Fionnuala. And I'd love you to tell me about and tell us all about your, like, what age you were when it started, and also what triggers it, and your journey with it and where you are now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the shame is a massive, massive thing. And only that I did a bit of therapy for it in my early 20s when I was doing my first degree. I really worked back through a load of CBT with a brilliant woman whose name I have now forgotten. She was based in the Beacon at the time anyway, absolutely fantastic. And she was able to take all the shame out of the condition for me. And now I've no problem speaking publicly about it because I don't want other people to feel as like, not to be dismissive to anyone, because this was a stigma thing that I had in my head, but I felt like the only person in the world that was doing this. I felt absolutely crazy that I couldn't stop doing this myself because it is an impulse control thing. I couldn't stop myself. And it started in and around when I was 8. So I would have lost my last grandparent, my lovely Granny June, that summer. I think it was when I was 7, turning 8, went into 3rd class. I wasn't particularly stimulated in that class. I just remember kind of some standout memories, like the teacher, and she probably had her own stuff going on in hindsight now as I've gotten a little bit older, but I just remember being really down in that class. A lot of the time we had to sing Swing Low Sweet Chariot over and over again, and like having just lost my granny and then being stuck singing that song the whole time in class, I was like, oh my God. And then there was just one or two like instances I remember being barked at for like doing what I thought was being a good student. If there was like a mistake on the board, being like, oh, that's actually this, like being a little nerd. In hindsight, it's probably wrecking her head, but at the time as a little 8-year-old me, I didn't know to, like, leave someone alone if they've gotten something wrong. So yeah, I think I was very understimulated then. I was obviously a little bit upset about my granny, and I was probably at an age where I knew that she was gone, but I didn't really understand what was going on. There's probably a lot of confusion there. I remember I had a lot of sleep issues as well, and they would have kicked off then. So I remember it would have been a thing at night when I was trying to go to sleep, and that's when it started off. And I would be pulling, and now I'm very lucky. It's always been, I do now pull my white hairs out, which I know you're probably going to scold me for, because I know I'm not meant to do that.
You pull out one, and then a 10 comes to the funeral, Fionnuala. Don't do it.
Now that I do by choice, but the eyelashes and the eyebrows are not by choice. So, but yeah, so this would have started all in and around that year when I was in 3rd class. And I was pulling them out when I was trying to get to sleep at night, having whatever little worries that I didn't know how to cope with. So it was a coping mechanism for me. And at the time, I did feel relief when I pulled out my eyelashes and eyebrows. Now there is still relief, but I need to go back. And I think I'm probably at the time in my life now where it's a really good point to do more counseling around it and to figure out now what the triggers are, and to do more of the logging details, which is where you write down, oh, like I was pulling because, and work back through your CBT. They call it a hot cross bun, and work back through finding out what triggered me to pull there. So at the time, the triggers would have been going to sleep. I was a little bit tired. And initially there was like a massive element of perfectionism to it. And there would have been a lot of perfectionism in my younger life. Thankfully rid of that now as well. But and if I had pulled a certain amount from one side, I had to make the other side match, or things like that. Or if there was one lovely long eyelash, but there was no other long eyelashes there, I had to pull the long one out. So things like that, which were obviously other levels of complexity, this would all have been back in the late 90s as well. So there's very little research done on this. And even for the next decade, there was very little research still done. It's still quite under researched. There's not many solutions or cures around now. I need to go looking again to see if anything new has come out in the last years, because I haven't really been looking. It hasn't been a priority for me. Still have no eyelashes. Thankfully, one of my friends is a very talented fee-brow artist, so she can tattoo on those, and I'll fill them in more if I'm going for a heavier makeup look each day. But Yeah, so that went on for a few years. And I remember going back into school, and you can't really hide it when you're 8. So, like, the lovely eyebrows and the eyelashes that frame our face and give our face lovely depth, they were gone. And I remember people in my class being like, where are your eyebrows? And the lies you make up as a child when you don't know how to explain something. So I remember saying wild stuff, like when we were queuing up to go out to the yard, when the girls would point out, being like, you've no eyelashes, you've no eyebrows. And I was like, I fell on a razor, as if like you'd fall on a razor, like, and manage to shave off both your eyebrows and all your eyelashes. On what planet? Like, on what planet? But at the time, I was just like, oh. And then this is actually really terrible, but like, I have no bad feelings about it now. But I used to go around, because again, I didn't know what it was. And do you remember The Ring, the movie The Ring had come out,
Oh
and
yeah.
Samara was a big character in that? I got the nickname Samara off the local boys' school, because I used to go around with like strings in front of my eyes, basically trying to hide the damage when I was walking to school that I'd done the night before. Again, not knowing what this was or why I was doing it. So I was like, oh God, hiding away from the world. But then fast forward a few years, it was always kind of happening. I have like a really funny, awkward period between the age of 8 when it started and up until I think I discovered eyeliner when I was 13. I probably would have been in second year of secondary school. And I started wearing that every day. And I've been wearing that almost every day since.
Okay.
But my relationship with it really changed. So we did, again, as I was saying, when I got into secondary school, wasn't much around about it. My mum knew something was up, but she didn't really know what it was. She had actually done it previously when she was growing up to her dolls as well. So I don't know much. I'm not an expert in this field, if there's a hereditary thing there, but I remember she had this lovely big doll she passed down to me, and most of its eyelashes were gone because my mum had had the same thing when she was younger and was there absentmindedly doing it to the doll as well. Now, thankfully, she grew out of it herself, so she doesn't do it herself anymore. But when I would have been around 16 then, we went and we did some OCD therapy, because at the time that's all we kind of knew for it. That wasn't particularly helpful. It didn't really get any breakthrough with that, but it was great just for life in general to have gotten in and gotten some help with how our brains work, because this was pre any conversations about mental health in general society, really. So it was all a mystery to everyone. But then come the end of the first year of college, I was able to get great access to the Beacon. That's when we were really like, okay, we're going to sort this out now. So every week I'd go out, I'd do CBT in there. They'd be able to figure it out. They'd be able to walk me through the biggest problem. And it remains this day. I don't care so much about the physical elements of this. I'm very lucky as a woman. No one's going to bat an eyelid, especially I'm in very glam workspaces for the most part. No one bats an eyelid at all at me coming in with like eyeliner thrown on every day. Whereas in like some more casual places, people might look at you. To be honest, I think our perceptions around makeup has really changed now. But that was a big fear for me. I remember coming out of school being like, I need to work somewhere where I can wear eyeliner every day, because otherwise people are going to see this. And until I did the CBT, the stigma around it was huge for me. So I remember writing down like, because they make you work back through your thoughts and how you feel about it and how it makes you feel about yourself. And I was working back, and it was brilliant to get that veil lifted and be like, that's actually wild. And that's not based in reality, what you're thinking and what you're projecting onto yourself. But I had written down things like, no one's going to want to be my friend if they know that I have this. Everyone's going to think I'm a freak if they know that I had this. All of these absolutely ridiculous things, like so unimportant. But it also just really got me away from my ego, I think, as well, which was a lovely thing to lose that young in life, to not be operating from that place of like, oh, my vanity and everything else. Now, don't get me wrong. I love getting dressed up, but not from that kind of like, I need to be like perfect. It's all from a very, I'm doing this because I enjoy it, not because I feel the world looking in at me, so I have to do this, which is a really comfortable place to be in. So love that I got that out of it. But yeah, so once I'd done all of the counseling, they started working through things like, okay, well, can you go up to the shops without your eyeliner on? And that now I would not bat an eyelid about. But at the time, that was a huge deal for me. Yeah. And everyone has their thing. I've seen this since with friends who've had cancer and then they have to get wigs and different things like that. And we do have so much emotion, and maybe people who haven't kind of lost hair in different places realize it until something like that happens. It can be a very emotional thing. Yeah, when you don't feel like you're in control of how you're presenting yourself in the world. But obviously the CBT worked me back to being like, okay, it's just a physical thing that I have. Everyone has their thing. To be honest, no one actually notices it. Like, no one is ever like, oh my God, you've no eyelashes, until I point it out. So it is that kind of thing of being like, oh yeah, I pull them out all the time, blah, blah, blah. And since I've started saying that, I meet loads of people who do it. But growing up, I think the only actress or anyone in the public eye I'd seen ever speak about it a little bit was Olivia Wilde. I think it was her who had it. But even at that, she still had her full Hollywood glam squad. So I never saw the reality of that on her. But it was just brilliant even to know like one other person had it. And then after I'd done those few therapy sessions in college, I also went, and I must go back to this again now years later because I'd have a totally different life experience to bring to it, might be able to help someone else. But St. Patrick's Mental Health, just beside Houston Station, the hospital there, had a sufferers support group. So other people who had it all came in. And I found this hilarious because I'm forever trying to like tweeze my partner's unibrow or vent it in any other kind of way I can. I'm like, come here to me, come here to me, come here to me. But they had a support group of all of the other people who'd had it. And I just remember the relief of being like, it's not just me. I'm not the only person in the world like this. And that's so freeing. Like just to know that there is other people going through what you're going through. But interestingly, in that meeting, everyone else had like found a way to vent it through their work. So they'd all ended up in like waxing or doing brow treatments or different things like that. I was like, that is fascinating. Cause like I was like making sure like that I could work in places that I could wear eyeliner and draw my eyebrows on every day. And they were like working in places that they could vent it like that way, like waxing people's, like other people's hair. I just thought that was fascinating. So that's kind of been the journey so far.
Yeah, no, that is, and do you know what it is? I think being able to talk about it, because anyone that I've ever had to come to me about it, I've always, once they admit, first of all, that they're doing it, that's the first thing. That's the first thing that will help you. I think a lot of people don't want to admit to it. And again, it's usually women. Now, the thing with you is because you've such a gorgeous long head of hair, most people are like, oh, when you said it to me, I was like, oh, and you're like, no, it's my eyebrows and my eyelashes.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people with long hair, they do pull underneath. So for a long time, it's not even noticeable. They're covering it. It's different patches. But obviously, the more that it's done, the hair is getting broken. The follicles aren't going to grow back. And it's just going to end up with bald patches, which is why it's great to get a hold of it if you have information about it. And I think anyone listening to this, if they even see someone in their family and they're aware that they're doing it, it's great to know that there's help out there and there's light at the end of the tunnel, that you're not on your own, because loads of people do this. And the behavioral therapy is great. I mean, I think it's really where we send everyone, is to get help that way, because I think it's the way you can talk it through. You learn how to make lists, and that hot cross hold bun. That it's fascinating how they kind of get you to rethink your pattern. I also felt that for a lot of people that come to me, things like, making sure your hair, if it's from your hair that you pull from, your hair is tied up out of the way, that maybe you wear a wig. So if you are doing it, you're pulling from a wig or a doll, like you said, your mom had that doll. A lot of the time having a small doll where like you can pull. So when you have that urge, because it must be very irresistible, you have to kind of do it. It's immediate. Like to pull at something obviously helps hugely. So do little things like that. Like, is it really stress that you think brings it on? If you feel at the moment, like you're very busy at the moment. So at the moment, you're not probably in that space, or do you find if you're very stressed, you have like an urge to do it?
I actually wonder, and it's going to turn into a bit of a therapy session. I do wonder if I sort of self-selected work that I can't do it in. So now like I'm doing a lot of DJing, event hosting, radio, like desk running and presenting myself. All of those things are not spaces that I would pull in. Spaces that I would pull in now, because my triggers change over time. When I was in secondary school, it would have been sitting down to write an English or a history essay, because those were my best subjects. So that's where I felt like it was not quite self-sabotage, but I was like, the perfectionist streak that was there before I'd done all the therapy was like this has to be perfect. But then I got to my master's thesis, I was like, done is better than perfect. Just get it in, doesn't matter. But even like that, if I knew anything sitting down and writing a lot, those would be situations where I'd be like at my face, and I would try to put barriers there. So I remember growing up, we tried gloves, we tried like glasses, we tried so many different things, putting Vaseline over my eyes. We tried, even there was these little like my mom had done it to the doll, but there was these little rubber balls that had all these kind of like long strings. And you could pull at those instead. My mum's absolutely brilliant. She used to be a researcher for Witch magazine, so she had gone off and like troll the internet for anything and everything she could find that had worked for other people. And I had like varying degrees of success with that. One of the most helpful things, I think, sometimes I was kind of thinking ahead to a busy week and I'd be sitting on the couch and just absentmindedly the hand would go up. Like my parents or my partner would know to be like, okay, and like stop me, because it is so subconscious. You mightn't catch yourself doing it until you're in quite a flow of it. Whereas if the people around you are able to support you, just being able to be like, okay, but doing it in that sort of gentle way, because, and this was a massive frustration for anyone else that I've ever met who has talked to people in their life who don't really get it. And I totally understand that people don't get it, because it is like, it's such an anomaly. It's not that talked about at all. But people being like, why don't you just stop? That's obviously not helpful, because
No,
it's not something that you can just stop, or we would have just stopped. So like,
absolutely.
thanks, but no thanks for that piece of advice.
Yeah.
But then going on through the years, my triggers have changed now, in that, again, if I was sitting down to write something that I had like a massive amount of perfection about, that would still be there. But now one of my workarounds that I found is that I would do that in public. So if I'm doing that in public, I'm not going to be pulling. If there's people around me, there's like a level of self-awareness that I will maintain that I wouldn't if I was just sitting down at my desk at home alone. Or also, I notice if I've had a good few drinks the night before, whatever that does to my brain chemistry, my barriers to stopping myself are lowered the next day. Just, the way if you were like a little bit hanging, like whatever, all your inhibitions are lowered. You're having your takeaway, you're doing whatever else. But just the power to stop myself would be slightly less present. So, and I don't know if it triggers something in my actual brain chemistry. I'd be fascinated to know about that. If it's like stimulating certain, I don't know how brains work, but like certain neurons that fire that go trigger that impulse control space. I definitely noticed that one, but I wouldn't have many big nights out really at the life stage that I'm at now anyway. So that's not really a problem. So yeah, those are
busy. You're too busy, Fionnuala. You're working at 4 a.m. instead of partying
all weekend, every weekend for the next month. So I've no social life. So it's fine.
Your life is a party.
So that's one of my workarounds, is also have no social life.
Well, there you go. Well, I think, and it's knowing the triggers, isn't it? And I think the support network, I would always say to anyone who's listening to this, you need, if it's your mom, if it's your sister, if it's a friend, if it's even someone anonymous that you can call, that there's some support line that can help you. It's to, even when you're going through this kind of phase, that you've got someone to talk to that understands, not somebody that says, well, just stop, because that's not going to be the right advice at all, but someone that understands you. I think it's so important to have even one person that gets you on that level and that can talk you through it when you're having a bad time. And I think that's really helpful. And I really feel that you're going to help. It's fascinating, really, when you think about it, because it's fascinating the different things that people do. And also, but it really can cause a lot of problems and a lot of shame. So to get it out there and to talk about it is just amazing. And I'm so happy that you came on my podcast to talk about that. But so I'm going to give all your details out at the end anyway, so people can get in touch with you if they have any questions for you. But let's talk about the fashionista side of you. So let's talk about all the upcycling that you're doing, all the pre-loved clothing. You're very much all about sustainability, obviously, but also like the neck curtains and making them into a dress. And obviously I was a stylist for years, did tons of makeover shows, and I would have to sometimes pull from different places that would just be very, very unusual and make things up for shows to make it look. I remember times doing like dresses like Halle Berry from the Oscars and trying to find a dress that replicated that in 24 hours after the Oscars to do a live event. You're like, oh my God. So you're pulling from everywhere trying to make things. So where did this come from? When you look around, like say your house, you saw those neck curtains, that was a great idea. You've got obviously a wedding coming up, and obviously we don't need to know about the dress exactly, but are you thinking, is it going to be sustainable? Are you going to be, it is, okay. Yeah. Are you going to have a few maybe different looks? Everyone's doing that at the moment.
100%.
Okay, good.
I want 2 days of celebrations. One of my pals got married recently, and she did obviously gorgeous wedding day, but also did a night too with a big trad set. And it was such good crack. And I think people's wedding day can be so busy that you mightn't actually get to talk to people until the day too, and to properly, as the bride or groom, let your own hair down then and get to properly enjoy your day. So definitely 2 days. So definitely a few little looks. There's an amazing secondhand bridal site called Rebride. There's a few other ones as well, but that's one of the newest ones in Ireland that have really, really gorgeous trendy wedding dresses on that. So I've been keeping a little eye, and we're very early days. I don't think we're not even engaged a month yet. So yeah, but I have some little ideas. I was never that gal who like grew up with this dream wedding in mind. It's just going to be loads of fun. We're both really into music. That'll be our priority on the day. Loads of great crack, loads of great food, and we'll have a ball. But in terms of dresses, you'll laugh at me now. No curtain is safe for me, because I was looking at the shower curtain the other day and it's white, and I was like, Jesus, now I wonder if I could do that into a ribbon or something on the back of the dress.
You like a challenge, don't you? You like a challenge.
Robbing tablecloths and everything. It's ridiculous. But yeah, anything and everything is up for grabs. If it's like material at all, fabric at all, I might be pulling up your carpets. Nothing is safe. Okay,
all right, well that's good to know. And maybe a little bit of pink in there. Maybe are you not you're not probably traditional, are you?
I think my dress will probably be traditional. I definitely want a short one somewhere, probably not for the big day, the ceremony, but definitely maybe for dancing or day 2 we'll do a nice.
I could see you in short. I can totally see you in something short.
I need to be able to dance, you see, Claire. It's very important for me to knock it off the dance floor all night. I also want to do like a lovely civil ceremony day. I think it's a really nice trend now that everyone makes that a lovely day with their immediate family and like maybe their brides, maid of honor and groomsman or whatever. So definitely do one of those as well. But yeah, in terms of sustainability, like anything that we can get secondhand, we will. Anything that we can reuse, we will. We're just going to ignore a lot of the faff and the tat that makes the prices really escalate.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily get a massive return on investment on. Also, I don't want to add a huge amount to my own to-do list. Like, we're going to keep it basic in terms of like, we know what's important to us. It's not wedding favors. We'll do a charity donation instead. I know some people do lovely ones. It's just not something I'd be bothered with personally. And then even my own pal who just got married, my best friend Linda just got married there 2 weekends ago. She told us like, this is the general color scheme for the bridal party. If you want to go off and find your own dresses. So I got mine secondhand on Depop, and she was more than happy to like have everyone in just gorgeous different things that they felt comfortable in. Definitely do a little bit of that vibe as well. And maybe encourage people to rewear stuff to the actual celebrations as well, and to carpool if they can. So anyways, we can work rental, anything like that in, we absolutely will be looking at that.
Well, that's fantastic. And do you think it will be maybe next year? Or are you thinking?
Definitely not next year. That sounds like way too much stress for me. So we're going to do early summer 2025. Ideally get a bit of leave insert weather. I don't know with the climate if that'll still be bankable on as being like scheduled for those 2 weeks. So if we can get that, that'd be amazing. But also I think if, what was I going to say there? Yeah, leave insert weather 2025. Oh yeah. So even when I was like ringing around some of the venues, because we definitely wanted to be in Wicklow, and I was checking some of the venues for those dates, and like they were like 2025 is already booked out. I was like, how far in advance are people planning these weddings?
So it's definitely Ireland. You're not going abroad, just staying 100%. In Ireland.
Good, yeah, okay. Just for sustainability is such a big thing for me that I couldn't justify the flights of everyone going abroad for the wedding. So we'll do our own like honeymoon probably abroad, but just for flight's sake and the carbon emissions sake, we'll be doing it local. Obviously, we're so spoilt in Ireland with food and everything else. And the expense of attending weddings is high enough for people already. So I just wanted to be nice, local, down the road, handy for people, loads of crack. And yeah, we'll have a ball.
Oh, you're going to be a gorgeous bride, and no bridezilla. No, you're going to be fabulous. I can just tell. You're just going to have it nice, easy, and relaxed. Well, let's talk to you nearer to the time and see. Yeah. So, what about like any icons? Is there anyone that stands out to you that you loved their wedding dress, like someone famous from the years, even like someone like a movie star, like from a different era? Is there any kind of like
on Pinterest boards?
You can think of?
I suppose the
like
big
60s,
one,
like that 60s kind of vibe. You were going for something short,
I love a 60s vibe. Yeah, I love a big bow at the back. I love a 60s vibe. I love a statement veil, but like for a very limited few photos, they just seem like so much hassle, especially if there's even a whiff of a breeze in Ireland. They seem like no, not.
But they are beautiful. They are beautiful. A veil is fabulous.
And I think for me, and just from seeing a few people trying to get around in dresses, if I have to be hooshing and huffing and having to walk around anywhere, that's probably out for me. So like bar maybe for a photo, maybe a detachable train, I don't know, but they seem like they might be a bit too much hassle for me. So probably a very simple classic figure, I don't know. But yeah,
we have to stay tuned to what to find out.
Also, I don't know if it's connected to the Trichotillomania or anything, but like wouldn't have much tolerance for uncomfortable things. So if I'm dragging it around, or if it's loads of hassle, I'll be naked on my wedding day. I'll have
ripped off. It'll be ripped off in no time.
Around, doing some sun worship for the summer solstice or something.
I hope you get that weather, that leaving cert weather. In Ireland, that's usually around like June, early June. For anyone listening who's not in Ireland, leaving cert is our final exams in school. And normally the weather is fantastic when you're doing them. And also when you go back to school in September. So the two times that are very good for those kind of big events you want to plan, because otherwise the summer can be a total washout. But then you don't go to Wicklow for the weather. Do you go for the beauty, and you're in Ireland for the trad sessions? So that's what it's about. What about your hair? What are you thinking? Have you any kind of hair inspiration for your wedding that you like down, up, maybe both?
Probably again both. We're gonna have 2 days, so we can do a bit of everything. I think I will need it again out of the way, because my nervous tick is like, or just my default is flicking my hair over and back all day, never stop. And I obviously don't want to be doing that when it's been wonderfully styled. I think because it's so long, I intend to keep it long for the wedding day. It's in and around waist length at the moment. I'm loving the kind of revival of lovely big like layered 90s hair, loads of volume. So probably something like that. Really nice curls in it, but not like ringlety ones, just the big gorgeous sort of boho, but also kind of just big. Definitely glam. I think I will probably keep the makeup quite simple, but I will have my signature black eyeliner flick. I do not see myself growing my eyelashes out in the next 2 years. Who knows? I might, but I'm not banking on it. I'd be more than happy to have my eyeliner on the wedding day. And then, yeah, I would love some kind of a low bun. I think can be really gorgeous and classy, and maybe there'll be some plaits work through there as well, because I do have enough hair to be doing mad Game of Thrones stuff, but I don't want it to detract. I'm going to go for something that is quite classic and timeless, because you don't want to do like a trend and
No.
2 years
And
later,
look back in 10,
oh
20 years. Yeah, no. You need something
yeah,
timeless, something classic, and something that you're comfortable with. I think that's the most important advice I'd always give a bride, because obviously I've styled tons of brides and done a lot of photo shoots for brides. And it's very important, because if you try to be someone that you're not on the day, you're going to have such an uncomfortable day. So you've got to feel amazing. And whatever that is that makes you feel good, you got to go with. But also, you got to remember when your hair is long that it can drop. So things like that, you've got to be aware of with the humidity sometimes as well in Ireland and the damp weather. If your hair tends to get frizzy or that, you do have to kind of take all that into consideration. So wearing your hair up for part of it is definitely a good idea, because it eliminates all that kind of disaster when you're looking back on photos and it's frizzy or it's just at the dropping in one part. You don't want that. So you need your hairstylist with you for the whole day, Fionnuala. You definitely do.
absolutely, 100%.
24 hours.
I think it's mad when people leave their makeup or their hair go. I'm like, I'm not competent enough to do that. You have to stay with me.
Stay for the day. Stay for the day. And all that. Your hair's always been long. So I mean, the entire time I've known your hair's been long, but you did cut it, I think, was it about 3 years ago?
It would have been post lockdown.
Okay,
Because
well, I
I
thought it was
couldn't get
before.
to a hairdresser, and
I
my
thought it was
hair
before. Okay, yeah.
grows. So it just grows and grows and grows. And like it had never been this long in all my years, but it grew down to my waist. It was below my bum after all of the lockdowns. And it was getting caught in car windows, indoors, everywhere. Like I could have given myself a lockdown haircut at home, but
Oh
I
God,
was
no.
intentionally growing it out. And then I donated to the Rapunzel Foundation that gave the
Amazing.
donations to do
Children, yeah.
cancer. So gave all that away. Little did I know, because it's always been so long, I'd never had to worry about layers in it. I used to always just get a cut straight across the bottom because it was so long, so much weight
Yeah.
in it, it just fell down. When it got cut up to shoulder length, and the hairdresser was like, "Oh, and do you want any layers?" And I was like, "Oh no, just cut it straight across." Didn't understand that she was being like, no, put some layers in it, but trying to say it politely. And I was like, went around looking like Lord Farquaad from Shrek for the whole summer. It was so bad. And it was such an awkward length. I could barely tie it back to slick it back. So that was my very bad hair era. And I was trying to sort my teeth out at the time. So I had Invisalign. It was very much my ugly duckling era. But it was fine. There's loads of lockdowns. No one could see me anyway. So it was grand. I was stuck studying. I was proper like, oh, and I'm getting the real fresher experience now of like, it's
Oh,
easy and a
that's
little,
the thing though. Sometimes shorter hair can be more work. When you used to having your hair long, you just put it up and do
so
different
much
things.
more work.
You have to style it more sometimes when it's at that shoulder length. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that when they have the hair really long. But what I do want to ask you about that, and I'm going to be winding this up now because you've given us so much information. But I ask everyone what their hair personality is. Have you got one particular hair personality? Or do you believe that I do, that you have different hair personalities for different times in your life? So when you went through that, were you going through something? You said you're the Invisalign, so it was a different, a different thing. Sometimes like when someone changes their hair color, they're blonde, they go dark, or they're going through something in their life and they want a total change. I think that's when a lot of people reinvent themselves. But sometimes they look back and they go, oh God, what was I thinking? But at the time you're in it. So if you had a hair personality, and let's go with the one right now, what would your hair personality be?
Now I would define my hair personality as lazy, because unfortunately
No.
I am no, but like because it just sits there, I'm lucky it's naturally kind of straight enough. The only thing I ever really do to it is, the overnight heatless curls with
Yes.
Aaron's dressing gown rope. I just wrap my hair around that
Good
load,
idea.
put a little spritz in it, and that's all I do. And that's probably why it's still quite healthy, because I'm not really putting any heat in it, but it
Right.
is out of sheer laziness. If I'm leaving the house, I'm not spending longer than 15 minutes on my makeup. I am lucky if I brush my hair. I know that makes you say I live in squalor, but I'm good at brushing my hair before I go to bed. I find that very therapeutic. That I feel like I've kind of reset my scalp for the day. It's nice and
Yes.
fun. But yeah, lazy. But as you were saying about like finding yourself different transitional periods in transition year, and you are going to want to block your ears for this, but I had my hair every color under the sun. I was bleaching it at home. I had it blue, I had it purple, I had it red, I had it orange, I had it. Do you remember even people did those
Oh
raccoon
yeah.
stripes back when
Yeah.
like Bebo was a big thing and there was all like kids? I put my hair through hell. And even then, one of my friends is training to be a hairdresser out in Brown Sugar in Blackrock. And all of us got to come in and do the free trials.
Oh
And I
yeah.
dyed my hair back to like a very dark brown, almost black then. And all of the girls who had taken pristine care of their hair, like were so well behaved, did everything you're meant to do. The hairdresser's like, bit limp, you could do this, you could do that. And then they came over to my head that had been through a million world wars of bleach. And they were like, great quality, what are you doing to it? And the girls were fuming. So I'm just lucky. The hair on my head is very good to me, and just as well because I'm making up for all the hair on my face that I don't have.
There you go. And we will leave it on that note that we won't say lazy. I'm going to say laid back chic. Will we do that?
That's such a nice PR spin.
Well, you got to spin it. You got to spin it, right? So that's the way we're going to leave. We're going to leave your hair personalizer your laid back chic. And thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell everyone where they can find you, please, on your Instagram and everything? What's your handler?
Instagram at Fionnuala Moran. Fionnuala is Fionnuala. That first A everyone misses, and then Moran is just Moran. And yeah, I'm on TikTok under the same name, but unfortunately still quite lazy on TikTok. So laid back on TikTok as well.
And they can listen to you as well. They're on 2FM, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be covering for Laura Fox a little bit whenever she takes holidays. She's on one at the moment. So I'm going to be on 2FM on weekends from 9 a.m. to noon. And then I just pop up wherever I pop up. It's like a little mystery game.
It is. Well, listen, congratulations on all your work on the upcoming wedding. We'll be watching out to see what you're going to wear. And thank you for sharing your experience today. I think it's really helped people out there. So thank you so much, Fionnuala. I really appreciate you coming on. Have a fabulous day. And I will talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Thanks a million.